right, I'm flying blind without a trailer on this one because I couldn't find a trailer that was of good enough quality for this film. So I'm actually going to be editing together um, a select bunch of footage and stuff from this film. But this is one of my favorite films. This is Mystery of the Wax Museum. This is directed by Michael Curtiz, who would go on to direct a few films like, say, Robin Hood and Casablanca. First thing I want to say is this film was shot in a two-strip Technicolor format, which was very new at the time and was only used for a few films. It was this, Dr. X, I believe, is the other one. It's also a Lionel Atwill film, which is a great film. I've only seen it once. It was very quickly replaced by the three-strip Technicolor process, which gave a lot more fidelity to the colors of what was being filmed. So it outmoded itself very quickly. But there's something about the colors that came out of this era. It looks a little bit like colorized black and white, which in a way it kind of is. I won't get too deep into the chemical process of how it works. It also looks a little bit like if a film was set up to be in 3D, which it's not. If you watch this through 3D glasses, nothing's going to come out at you, unfortunately. So, that is a later film, actually, starring Vincent Price, called House of Wax, which is a remake of this film, and which is also a great film. But this one sort of grabs me. It's a very layered, very complexly wound narrative that involves murder and body snatching and drug abuse and deformation. It's really an interesting. It's almost like a crime thriller. It's almost like a hard-boiled crime thriller mixed with a horror film at the time. Lionel Atwill stands out amazingly in this film as the doctor, as the Mad Doctor, kind of playing two roles. He spends the days as this wax sculptor who's been burned and no longer can use his hands, so he hires other people to do his artwork for him as he's building this new wax museum in New York City. And then of course there's a nocturnal version of him that's much more kind of Hyde-like, who stalks the morgues at night and steals bodies. Obviously Fay Wray is in this film. Not too far removed from, I think only within the year of doing King Kong. I'm not sure which shot first, this or King Kong. But she's obviously lovely as ever. I never heard her talk about this film. She would talk about King Kong, people would interview her, especially when they did the remake with Peter Jackson and stuff. But I never heard her talk about this film, and for all I know, she never even remembered doing it. The contract players would work so much back in the day. It's got a lot of humor. It's funny. It's very irreverent. There are stills of many scenes that were cut from this film. I remember seeing them in Famous Monsters magazine when I was young. So it got away with a lot of stuff, but it still was censored. So you don't get to see the complete original vision, which I think was a little more macabre, maybe a little more twisted. Very maybe more in keeping with my film from the other night, Reanimator. But anyway, this is up to, obviously most of these films are my favorites. That's why I'm taking the time to talk about them and produce these little podcast videos of them. But Mystery in the Wax Museum really does have a special place in my heart. It's everything I kind of dug. I'm a big Raymond Chandler fan, so it's got that cool, mystery thing with the reporter girl, hunting down the story relentlessly. And it's got this again, like London After Midnight quality, with Lionel Atwill's character stalking the nights and stuff, full of sinister characters, full of evocative, beautiful shots. And there's no wonder you look at this and Michael Curtiz obviously end up, taking over Hollywood in his own time, within the next 10 years. It's a brilliant little film. Check it out. It's available online. I got it on DVD. It kind of came out when that awful updated version of House of Wax in the 2000s was released. This kind of was sort of secretly put out, I think almost for free, as a promo thing, which I don't think those two audiences have a crossover really. So I'm not sure how smart a business move that was, but that's it. That's the movie for tonight's October Country, Mystery of the Wax Museum, Lionel Atwill, directed by Michael Curtiz. Gorgeous, gorgeous little film. So inspirational to me, in my palette and the kind of things I'm trying to do. So check it out. You guys have a good, safe night. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.